Now, this isn't the type of video I would normally make these days because this channel has kind of migrated away from a creator-on-creator commentary, mostly because of the way YouTube is now kind of policing this type of thing. But this particular audio leak from MundaneMatt takes many direct shots at me, shots at my friends Count Dankula and Bering, and simply is appalling. It's full of complete inaccuracies, unending amounts of salt, and now that it's out there on the web and it's floating around, I've felt the need to respond to it. Now, I'm going to ask that you just keep your comments here on this video, on this channel, and we have a laugh together. Ultimately, I'm not angry about it. I don't get mad about things on the internet, regardless of what my detractors might say about me from time to time. About maybe the pollution entertainment guy. That guy made me mad, but that was about it. This particular audio, and there are other leaks too from his Discord, are pretty shady. I think this type of talk about people behind the scenes is rough, and I'm particularly frustrated on the behalf of two guys that probably won't say anything about this and don't need to, and that's Count Dankula and Bering, whom have defended him privately to me in the past, and have never really dumped on the guy. Now, I made 2 or maybe 3 videos about it. Some of what he says in this video or in this audio is accurate, and I will point out when he's saying something accurate and when he's not. And ultimately, I think this will just be a little bit of fun for us. So I'm going to cue up the audio here, and let's go.
Here's the thing. At MythCon last year, I talked to Jeremy, and the first thing he said to me was like, make an apology video. And I'm all like, well, I was like talking about it.
This is correct. The first time I ever saw MundaneMatt was at MythCon in Milwaukee, and the first words out of my mouth were, make the dang video. Because if you're unaware, basically MundaneMatt is the beta version of my channel in more than one ways, I suppose. But him and I don't do anything that differently. Tim Pool and I don't really do anything that differently. I know my channel is not groundbreaking. I know my channel is not artsy or highly edited, highly polished. It's a radio show with a video element. That's basically what my channel is. The thing that I do better than, let's say, MundaneMatt is research relevant topics and read my audience rather than maybe what he's doing. But it's true. The first time I saw him, I was looking down at the ground and I saw this little guy down there, and I had a few drinks, and I think the only thing I said, I felt embarrassed for him because at that moment was just days after I was on a podcast with Mr. Medicare, Ralph, Gator, Keemstar, actually, where MundaneMatt, or as Keemstar would call him, Matt Mundane, got caught flagging down people's videos who were critical of him. In fact, it was so hilarious. At one point, he actually displayed his many channel strike submissions, and they were all on channels that were making fun of him. And his response was simply, I was in a bad headspace, which was just brutal. Just brutal. And I think a week later, he showed up at MythCon, and everyone was kind of like, oh, gosh, he showed up. And I just tried to be nice to him. I mean, that's who I am. It's funny how when people say, oh, I met him in real life and he's not so whatever. Yeah, that's because real life is different than the internet.
And then Jeremy goes, he's like, dude, if you make an apology video, I'll support you. I'll back you up. And I did make an apology video after talking to other people who were actual friends of mine and having heart-to-heart conversations about it.
I never said I was his friend. Imagine keeping a friend that would copyright flag other YouTubers.
And that no way did anything with Jeremy have anything to do with it. But then, of course, I did it, and he's no support for me.
Okay, so Matt, you say, well, Jeremy didn't. I didn't do it because Jeremy asked me to. By the way, I didn't ask him to do it. It was a joke. It was like, dude, how have you not apologized for this? You're a YouTuber. Like, flagging down other YouTuber videos is like the cardinal sin among creators. You just don't do it. And if you do, you become like a pariah, a leper that will always follow you around forever. And the only thing he could do at that point was to make the video, which is what I said to him many times.
Period. And then he still was like talking trash about me on his fucking podcast. So, like, I don't give a shit. Like, fucking, the thing is, the quartering is low hanging fruit about everything. There's no actual critical thought that goes into anything.
Yikes.
I mean, I'm a centrist, but I'll present both sides. No.
First of all, I don't label myself centrist TM. When people ask me where I sit, it's either, depending on the way, whatever the Overton window is, it's center right or center left, but I don't identify myself. I don't identify with a particular political leaning. That's how I get along with everybody. I can get along with people that are very far right and people that are very far left, as long as they're not nutballs. Although I don't identify myself with how I vote. I identify myself with what kind of man I am, the things that I do when the cameras are off, things like that, things that actually matter.
No one talks about Bering anymore.
Now, that's a weird transition, just a shot at Bering. Bering is a friend of mine. I do a podcast with him. And, he's probably one of the best YouTubers. He makes some of the best Virtual Shield commercials I've ever seen.
And his content is literally all the same.
Yeah.
It's the same as it's always been. It's just, it's SJW feminist. Yeah.
Well, I would say that basically every YouTuber makes a particular type of content, and therefore their content remains the same.
She's out there making claims, right? So, just got to deal with people. Fucking, it's the thing with the quartering is like, he's good. I'd say he's good at making thumbnails, and he's good at what he does. And
I think thumbnails are my weakest thing. That's what you all tell me.
Watch a lot of these people's content. So I like to see how they do it. But the difference between, and this might be, sometimes I feel like I'm fucking autistic or some shit, because the people who appeal to emotion, they always do better. I have so much trouble appealing to emotion.
Maybe that's because you're just a husk of a man? I don't know. I think it's in how you define it is pretty telling, Matt. Now, Matt Mundane has always been somebody who has been obsessed with being the idea of being a YouTuber, the idea of being in cinema, the idea of doing this, the idea of that. But he's never been somebody to follow through or do what it takes to get the job done. I mean, that's just provable through analytics. But the man had a decent little career for himself for a while until he decided to start flagging other people's content. And now, just quite frankly, he needs to have moved on a long time ago. But ultimately, I think Matt Mundane here, for somebody that spends so much time watching other people's content, it's surprising that he doesn't do it himself. And when he talks about appealing to emotion, I think that's pretty telling in that when you are being genuine about something, people can tell. And when you say people, like you try to be something, you try to be emotional, that's why people see through you. The idea that you speak about having emotion on a particular topic as this thing that you have to work at or do tells you everything.
In that regard.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you look at my content versus Jeremy, people go, oh, Matt's boring. Well, I
So am I. I agree.
Facial expressions, I use hand movements, I use inflections of voice, I get animated.
Who talks about their content like this?
It's like,
well, he doesn't present original thought,
Oh, that's not fair at all. Now you could say, hey, he reads a lot of other people's articles and I don't like that. But to say I don't commentate on them, that's not fair. I always provide my own commentary.
He's found an audience. He did it with magic. He knows how to come out there and he'll be like,
skipping ahead a little bit because Matt Mundane has some sort of problem with crowdsourcing funds, even though he himself has taken part of that kind of thing in the past. He takes a shot at Ethan Van Sciver as well.
And then I've listened to the Dankula, to the podcast that they have. It's called The Incredible Salt Mine. And I've listened.
By the way, you should check out that podcast. It's Wednesday nights, 5 p.m. Central, generally. Features Bearing and Count Dankula and myself.
It's just low key. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about most of the time. They just have conversations, but it's not even interesting conversations. I listen for like maybe 5 minutes and I tune out.
I'll have you know that we covered a very important case where somebody in Scotland was arrested for farting purposely in a police officer's face. I'll have you know that we have hard-hitting commentary on that podcast, Matt.
Like, wow. Right. There's no debate. Part of the fight over Ghostbusters was the social justice warriors in Ghostbusters. That's what it was. Not anything else. Not like the quality of the movie or anything else. It was just, they said mean things about men.
That's all I need, right? I don't have anything to say about the movie because I'm not going to give them my money to watch it if they decide to attack their fan base. This is true of the latest Star Wars films. This is true of Ghostbusters 2016. This is true of Terminator, Wominator. What is there to quote-unquote debate? And also, by the way, at no point has our channel ever been referred to as a debate channel either.
People want confirmation bias. They don't ever want to have their theories. They don't want to have their thoughts challenged. Look at, like, for example, the new Joker trailer. I didn't like it.
Shocking.
Thought it was a bad trailer. I'm not saying the movie's gonna be bad. I just didn't like the trailer, and I put out a video saying like it didn't wow me. I gave my thoughts as to why it didn't wow me, and over 100 dislikes, and that's because people.
That's some rookie numbers, Matt Mundane. I get more than 100 dislikes on almost every video. You got to get those numbers up, dog. Just
want to have their confirmation. That's all they care about. So if I could sit there and look at like the prevailing conversation. This is true, and this is why, if you know what you're doing, you can sit there and win YouTube. This is what Jeremy's doing. This is what the quartering is doing. He was, I think, playing the field a little bit a few months ago. Because when
I'm winning YouTube? Is that what I'm doing? Don't think so.
He made one video about me from more like a neutral perspective, and then he made a second video about me saying he like forgave me. Which is such a weird thing to say because I didn't do anything to him. And then...
Yeah, but you're a YouTuber that flagged other YouTubers' videos because they hurt your feelings.
And then he made another video basically saying that I'm like a sociopath.
Didn't you say you had to fake emotions? Didn't you say you had to pretend to feel feelings?
Because, like, I talked about, like, suicide in some videos and whatnot and, like, trying to say, look, I understand what these people are going through. So I'm using it as a, not as an emotional
as a shield.
This thing I understand. Because I've had some bad thoughts.
Yeah, you have had some bad thoughts.
And everything else. And that's just me being, vulnerable, me being open and honest, but he's playing it off like I'm some kind of fucking sociopath. And then I meet the guy in person and he's just like, just make a video and I'll fucking support you.
That's not what I said. And also, what am I supposed to do? Make fun of him in person and just bring a bunch of boulders and talk about that? I mean, I saw you basically hovering around in a little corner the whole night, not talking to anybody, keeping to yourself. I'm not necessarily someone that likes to kick somebody when they're down. And I was there to have fun. And spending time around a rain cloud didn't sound fun to me.
Like, never mind the fact that, you spent all this time talking all this shit about me. And then we're at this really nice house in Milwaukee. And, like, you're just like, yeah, man, like, don't feel bad about what I said. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. I've always said that. It's internet baloney. You have to maintain who you are outside of the internet. If you ever want to be truly fulfilled or happy, or confident, you have to be more than how you vote. You have to be more than what you do online. And that's what I'm talking about when I told you that, Matt Mundane.
But I'll support you if you do what I want.
If you do what's right, apologize for flagging down videos that hurt your feelings.
Yes, that's what it was. That's what he did. That's what it was. So that's it's it.
What were you saying earlier, Matt?
About what?
Oh, I forgot.
This is probably, I'm pretty sure this is the leaker here.
Oh, yes. Who will watch The Watchmen?
What do you mean?
Well, Matt, who will commentate on the commentating community?
I don't know. Someone will.
The answer is you, Matt. You will commentate on them. This is your destiny. Yeah, you need to start with a quarter. You need to make, and I'm putting scare quotes around this phrase. You need to provide helpful video essay criticism.
Well, the thing is, I don't really want to shit on the quartering. I don't really want to care about the quartering at all.
But you've been talking about me nonstop.
I don't think you understand, Matt.
Maybe not.
I'm a crazy person. I'll write the entire essay for you.
I bet he would.
You ever thought about just making it yourself?
Look, I don't have the reach. I don't have the channel reach, Matt. You're the only person that can do this. You are the watchman of the Watchmen.
You do realize that the average video of mine only gets 2,000 views right now. My reach is shit.
And we'll end it with that. Look, Matt, I meant it when I said that I thought there would be some redemption for you possible, but it appears that, and I'm not exactly sure when this audio was taken, it was probably sometime in the last few months. You're not interested in doing better. You're not interested in changing anything. You're not interested in atoning for the things that you've done on YouTube. And I'm not sure that anyone even really wants to forgive you. I don't blame them. What you did to other YouTube content creators was, again, breaking the golden rule. I wish you the best in your life. Your wife has a son now, or a daughter, I'm told. Good for her and the father and stuff like that. And I appreciate that. But you've got to get off this YouTube thing and just move on. I said this a year ago in one of my videos, I think 2 years ago. It just isn't for you anymore. I don't see redemption arc here because you're unwilling to redeem yourself. You're unwilling to get back to work. You're still obsessing about everybody else. And YouTube is just a fleeting moment. If my channel makes it through this Christmas, it'll be a huge miracle. But dwelling on other people is a recipe for continued failure, Matt. Focus on yourself. Focus on your wife's child. Focus on making things better off the internet. And I think you'll find that other things will fall in place. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video, because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.